Hello and welcome back. Or no. Welcome to Sad Boys Night. What do we do? Sad Boys Nights.
Show about being smooth.
Welcome to Smooth Boys, the premium, exclusive, Patreon-only bonus show.
Yeah, let's use that. Keep old as it.
I know. There's no editing of the bonus show. Like Jacob's time is money. All right.
We're letting it all go in the bonus.
I am very excited about this. I've always wanted to do a show where I don't have to worry about the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
And I really want to say thank you to Eddy for joining us on this inaugural bonus program.
Of course. I'm just happy to hang out.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so we were talking about Creed 3. You just saw it.
I just saw Creed 3 in theaters. I won't talk about spoilers for anybody. I really enjoyed it. I didn't see Creed 2. I feel like that's most people's experience.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with people buying consoles, how they went from like PS2 to Xbox 360 to PS4 a lot of the time.
Right.
I feel like most people saw Creed 1 and then were like, oh, Creed 2's out. I'll get to it. And then they didn't.
Yeah.
I think the one you hear the least about is like Two Towers. It's like an excellent movie that people love. Not quite as much of it didn't break the world as in like we've never seen anything like this, like Fellowship, and then this is Best Picture in the case of Return of the King. It's just a very good movie.
We were talking about right before we started rolling, especially the inspiration that those movies cause to look like everybody working out in those movies and then to also work out. And I had said that in after Creed 1, I had just started running and especially started lifting more, but like it was before joggers had kind of come back.
Yeah.
And I actually think that Creed 1 is a big hand in why joggers like became a stylish workout.
Jonathan, Michael B. Jordan looks incredible in anything he wears,
but
joggers especially.
And joggers, I was just saying the hoodie in the gym.
The
Rocky chasing the bike with a hoodie.
Yeah.
It's Le Classique.
I did not like, I plain watched Thor, the new Thor movie, and I did not like that movie at all.
I didn't see it.
Worst one.
Not
Not the most boring one.
Not the most boring.
The most annoying one.
Who directed it? Was a Sam Raimi? No.
Waititi again.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi one was Doctor Strange,
Oh,
and that was
wait a
also
minute.
Doctor Strange was really bad.
Sorry, I should be. That was the most. Thor: Love and Thunder, most annoying and most disappointing.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, I was confused that I hadn't heard about it being one of the shittest movies I've seen that cost more than $1 million.
Yeah, because a lot of people were excited for that movie when it came out. And then when we were in theaters for it, Chrissy and I made a look like maybe 20 minutes in where we were like, oh my God, this movie's like actually really, really bad. Especially they took a character of Wanda who they had just spent an entire TV show building out. And then we're like, what if she's the most one-dimensional and kind of stupid people that you've ever even her motivations in the movie, you're like, you're trying to do these big like dimensional ideas that don't make any sense. Her motivation doesn't make any sense.
Right.
She's extremely violent for no reason.
It feels like a really obligatory movie in a way that I can understand it being for like Raimi. Okay, fine. But he's also not. He didn't write the screenplay. The screenplay feels obliged to hit these buttons that should be really interesting. Imagine you watch like Into the Spider-Verse and Miles wasn't excited about being Spider-Man. He wasn't bad at it and then got good. Nothing really changes or develops.
Right.
And for some reason, the central theme or the central arc for Doctor Strange is falling in love with his ex-girlfriend. Like he spent what is implied to be thousands of years in the first movie in a time loop, dying again and again against this like impossible enemy. Through that that's why he's so powerful in I was a huge fan, right? It was why he's so powerful in Infinity War when he wasn't in the original Doctor Strange, because thousands of years of training. And then now he, first of all, is very bad at fighting and being a wizard, but he's also all that like mystique that's in Thor Ragnarok, where they're teleporting around and Thor's drink is filling up. None of that whimsy is there, despite the fact that it's made by one of the most like colorfully saturated, in a good way, like directors ever. It has none of the energy of even the first Evil Dead. It's really strange.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Strange.
Whoa. That's what they were doing.
Honestly, it's really the Eternals. You know what I mean? It's very the Eternals. It's very Infinity War. You know what I mean?
Can I say a spoiler for Eternals? Wait, does anybody care about Eternal spoilers? And then
I don't care. I haven't seen it. Oh yeah. We'll just skip ahead. We don't
Okay,
to
so
this timestamp. If we do that, I don't know.
There was a very ending bit of Eternals where Richard Madden's character is, I think that's the guy from Game of Thrones, right? Where he like really fucks up, and then as a joke to Chrissy, I was like, "Oh, I'm so fucking sad. I'm gonna fly into the sun," and then his character just. Boom! Right into the sun. I started losing it. I was like, I was kidding.
He should have for a second go like, I feel like I read something. Ooh, that was a good idea. What he did. Yeah. At no point is it like, by the way, acknowledge that like that the tale of Icarus flying into the sun.
Yep.
He just separately, as a guy called Icarus,
Just does it because he's sad.
That's what Icarus did. I'm building some wings so I can kill myself by flying into the
That's
sun.
funny. That's why Icarus flew
Icarus
close
knew
to
about
sun.
the wings, but was like, I really want to kill myself.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I don't have any wings.
Yeah, my wings aren't made of wax or whatever.
yeah.
It's like I just want to die.
You want to know the biggest spoiler? They cast Kumail as an Indian man.
Yeah.
And told him he wouldn't have to dance. Presumably Chloe Zhao was just like, yeah, Pakistan's in India, I think. It was like all the same shit, right? The dancing guys, you know the ones.
I didn't see Eternals or any of the movies you've talked about,
I
so
can
that's
finish
why
it,
I've
don't
like
worry.
kind of not contributed. But
Great bonus episode for people who don't care about Marvel.
I couldn't finish Love and Thunder either. Like, I don't think I have finished a Marvel movie.
I didn't mind
Doctor
Wakanda
Strange,
Forever.
like
I thought Wakanda Forever was pretty good. I
liked
the
Wakanda
way they did it,
Forever.
especially like with the real life stuff that they had to kind of play on.
yeah, I thought all that considered, I enjoyed it.
It's very, I didn't see it yet, but it's very like mournful. Not, literally it is obviously for good reason, but it's
Yeah.
quite, it's like a very pensive, quiet compared to the previous one.
I didn't see the Ant-Man movie, but it's by far like the best one that I saw that they've released. Like
Which animated?
or Ant-Man, sorry.
Oh,
The
Ant-Man.
one,
Oh.
yeah. It's like
new
of
one?
this phase, Wakanda Forever is like the one that I'm like,
Oh, I see.
this is like a cohesive movie that I think has
Yeah.
really good elements to it compared to like Thor. But yeah,
Man, that was such a I was so upset about Thor because I also saw the critical. I didn't see it for like a few months after it came out, but the critical consensus was like, "This is bad." And I'm like, but and not to be like a stan or whatever, but there's no Taika Waititi project that I don't like prior to that, and I'm not. There's something I'm not insane about, but Jojo Rabbit, one of my favorite movies.
What We Do in the Shadows is I think one of the best comedy movies that come out
Phenomenal.
in the last decade.
Hunt for the Wilder People made me cry on multiple occasions. Wonderful movie. And then this is, I mean, it's just the definition of not caring.
Yeah.
Like it is no affection for the movie, Marvel, its cast, anything. It's just like a. Anyway, welcome.
To Sad Boys Nights.
Sadder Boys.
What are other? Yeah, Sadder Boys.
Bad boys.
What are other
Bad Boys.
Bad boys.
Definitely let us know. So I think in the future, when there is a bit of a Patreon community here, we'll like take questions and stuff. We don't want to paywall our normal pen pals and stuff, but we also haven't been doing it recently because we've been having guests, and we'll probably be having guests for the foreseeable future. So we need to figure something out there.
We did recently draft up a guest list of like, we've got like dream people, but then just a guest list of
Dream SMP. Like everybody
Yeah,
has
just
Dream
all
SMP.
it's all
Yeah.
exclusively the Dream SMP.
sitting on that side so we can do this.
Oh, yeah, on this good side.
Several nights I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Cut that out, but put it on the main feed.
Cut that out and put it in twice.
Yeah, bookend the episode. Obviously, don't actually cut that out. Sad Boys Nights. No, we had a list of guests that we'd love to have that are some of which are within reach, but not that we know or even know people that know, but just like,
Right.
or I guess like via Elsie, it's like Bo Burnham, but like that's some steps. That's some bona fides away a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we just have this list of like 40 people that are like, we know all of them.
Yeah,
just have
it's
all these
interesting.
people.
I think
ahead.
I was gonna say I think people would be surprised when it comes to the YouTube people that you see vaguely around like our kind of not I don't like saying our group because it's just a section of people that like occasionally hang out in like a bigger, wider social circle, but like how much for our social circle people are actually just real life friends and it has almost nothing to do with YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think together, the three of us have only done a couple of things together.
I was thinking about
we
that.
hang
while
out
we're
all the
recording.
time.
Yeah. That's really funny. But that's also, I think, a refreshing thing about.
I think
our
it's
friends,
good
because I know that there are those circles where you feel like you need to be doing content all the time, and
That's
feel
the
like
norm is like a transactional creator circle,
Yeah.
and that's just like not. We're all like regular, like normally
the same.
well-adjusted people that want to have
It's a
friends.
Very entertainment industry oriented mindset. Plus, it's, we've thought in the past, sometimes you'll be having a conversation. Like we were actually right before the Sad Boys Nights, right before Nights kicked off. We were talking about Creed 3, and then we were like, oh, we should record that.
Yeah.
And I know just a lot of people are like, hey, we should hang out. Oh, but use a good amount of the time for content. But because we all hang out, we have like lives worth commenting.
Yeah,
on, right?
there's a
It's
good
not-
80 minutes of conversation that we've had that wasn't recorded, even though we've been recording for the last 2 hours.
Well, in my head today, even coming here, like I've been a guest on like other shows, and it's kind of like a nerve-wracking, like, oh, I'm headed here. Like, I hope I'm like funny enough on a show
Right.
or whatever. I was just like, oh, I'm going to hang out. Like that's what it
and
feels like coming over
The
here.
funniest thing is like, I want to do this thing where we have like a good, like a white glove, very clean, seamless experience for guests. I want us to be able to like start the show as soon as they come in, if we need to, if they, are have a heart out or something like that.
Yeah.
I want there to be, refreshments, coffee or whatever, maybe a little snack, and just be as inviting as possible. And so it was funny this morning when I was like texting you, because I almost felt like it was a little treat that we got to like have it's like we normally hang out and it'd just be normal, but I was like, oh, Eddie, can I get you a coffee? Or like, oh, can I get you a little pastry?
I felt very treated. You were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
were
no,
like,
it was
I'll
nice.
get whatever you need.
Yeah, no, I was like, I got cold coffee. I got hot coffee. I don't know. It just like felt good.
It was perfect too, because I didn't know you were so prepped for that. And I was like, oh dude, I didn't have enough time to put a pot of coffee on. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming like, little did you know, I've been planning a snack table.
Right, exactly. I'm like on the way to
Yeah.
the store.
I asked if you want to come this morning. You were like, no, I'm all right. And I said, you said, can Eddie grab this? And I'm like, perfect. I'll do a Phil's order. And so all of our drinks came at the same time.
We are like shadowing each other now, because not only do we keep saying the same things at the same time, which is a thing that I think used to happen, and now that we're hanging out in person again is happening again, but also we are going to the same places at the same time.
Honestly, so there's a place called that actually has no name, no address. It doesn't exist. There's a place we often go to together, and if you've ever seen us together hanging out somewhere, that's also not where it is.
Yeah.
That's actually very far away from where we live. The place you saw us. Also, we don't exist and don't check. That was nice. We often go to like a place that's fairly close to like both of us, but we don't live near each other, or far either.
Can I say on that topic, do you know how fucking terrifying it is to take so many screenshots off a delivery app when you're making a video that
dude.
maybe potentially a couple million people will see? I kept setting it to, I wonder if people are like, dude, you're doxing yourself. I set it to the Hollywood Walk of Fame so nobody would know my address. Like, I was so terrified though, an accidental screenshot would show my address.
You were like, people know I'm in California. Let me pick the most like
That was the
picture-
idea though.
That was a great
because
great
if I
idea.
picked anywhere else, people would think like
You would be oddly specific.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like,
the
oh,
Bill
what if I
Cosby
moved to there? I pretty much thought, what is the place in LA that I would never move to? And it's the Hollywood Star.
Yeah.
It was a Walk of Fame.
It's directly on the square footage of the Kevin Spacey stuff.
I'm gonna live above the Hollywood Boulevard McDonald's.
I want to see Jack Sparrow every day.
That's so funny.
Yo, I watched an episode of 90 Day Fiance the other day, and the guy was like seething and like jealous because his Serbian girlfriend, who had never been to LA, America, Hollywood, but had this, foreign romanticization idea of it, was got a photo with Jack Sparrow. And he was just like, what are
He
you
was
doing?
mad?
And he had the arm around her and holding the sword, and he's like, doing a terrible non-Jack Sparrow. He's going like, "Arr, would you like the sword, me matey?" Way off. And he was just like, you hold that sword.
Oh wow.
It was really strange.
On the previous thing about friendship, I wanted to say in content, in the intersection therein, I was going to say one thing about Jordan and our relationship that we have talked about is that the best part of waking up as Folgers in your cup, the other best part, no, the best part of Jordan being back is that we're allowed to have a friendship that is not tied to work.
Yeah, I actually thought about that when you were gone, is the fact that a lot of the work you guys were already doing had become probably most of the way you'd communicate with each other. I would assume it just kind of like not soured things, but made it like not as fun as it normally is.
It's
we have 6 hours that we're awake at the same time.
Right, because
record the podcast for 2, sync up for 1.
Yeah.
Other things I have to do in the evening and things you have to do in the morning.
Right. No, that was the thing. It was like we are so limited.
Yeah.
That this is out of necessity and it's not comfortable and it sucks, but it's like what we have to do right now.
Right.
But it's like I'm so grateful to have my friend back, is something that I was telling, Jordan, the other day, because it's like, yes, we can go do things and it doesn't have to be like content, or we can like go to a party and enjoy each other's company and have it not be like, I don't know. It's just like, so things feel a little bit lighter. And I think that's like a really nice
feeling. I don't
feeling.
know if you guys, I'm sure we all do. It tends to like, it's one of the bonuses you get in the same anxiety bundle that you purchase at birth. But there is like
cable package.
It comes with bipolar 2 or ADHD. You're allowed to choose. And sometimes you get both if you scratch off a card.
Yeah.
There is a anxiety that I will always have, barring most. I'm fairly good at self-soothing when it comes to anxieties, right? Like we were talking earlier about some conversations related to business can be like anxious and awkward, and like, how do I get comfortable with that? Am I being annoying with this? Like, am I disappointing this collaborator or brand or whatever? The one I will just always struggle with, because it was very hard to maintain while I was away, do they not like me? Am I being annoying?
Oh, yeah.
Is this so-and-so? And just to be completely honest, I felt like that all the time with you while I'm away. Because I was just like, am I letting him down? Am I just like fucking, and I was on buses for hours at a time. And I was just like, I'm not responding to people enough and pissing people off.
Yeah.
And it was you and Briggan I was worried about with that. Because we prior to had these just kind of like ambient relationships. It was not one that we maintained with texting and conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it speaks, and I think that, I appreciate you sharing that, but also like, definitely not what I was experiencing, but I was experiencing a different type of frustration, which was like the absence of the pain of like not kind of having the fullness of our relationship, and I think it's like a long distance relationship, but it's also a, the time zones don't have a favorable overlap. You know what I mean?
And then we made the dastardly choice for our first joint editor hire to be an Australian
man. So we really do run the fucking gamut. There's 1 hour where we're all awake.
Like that, we're trying to open a safe with 3 keys.
You turn them all at the same time. Yeah.
How's it?
The amount of times, real quick, that I've Googled time in Sydney, though.
I truly, dude. A couple days ago, I had a brand deal I had to put out real quick, and one of our editors was moving. I didn't want to like infringe on his time, and I messaged Keela, and I'm like, please, would you be down to do this for me real quick? Because you'll be up first, you'll be able to edit this and get it out like before the week, because I obviously want you to have your weekend or whatever. Then realizing that it was his weekend because he lives not a few hours behind or ahead, he lives in the future, which I'm not used to because PST was in the past,
right?
So I'm like, I'm always ahead. Sad boys nights.
Sad boys night.
That it is actually awesome though, because at like 3 p.m. if I like am working on like a gold video or something, I record at like 1 or noon. And then I know at 3 p.m. I can like send him the Dropbox and he's getting up and like ready to work. And then I go to bed and then I wake up the next morning and there's like a cut. And I'm like, that was a magic trick.
Same with Austin, because he's 3 hours ahead. So if I have a late
one of our other editors is in Canada.
We hit the cap here.
Yeah.
Is it weird for you and Tony? I mean, I know the time's not super different, but the distance.
Him being in Sydney.
In Canada.
It was, I mean, I'll say like, because I'm pretty sure it's like, people that know my stuff know that Tony and I have always been like extremely close. It was, I would say more like emotionally when I moved, it was really difficult at first because we had not only obviously grown up together the whole time, but then went to community college where pretty much us and 2 other friends were like our only friend group for the most part that was around all the time. So like Tony and I got even closer during the time when we were in community college, and we're so used to spending like every day together. And so when I moved, it did make it easier that I had like nothing to do other than make videos and didn't know anybody out in LA. The first 2 years I was here, other than the times that you saw me, I was playing PlayStation in my room or making a video. And so Tony and I would game a lot, which would make it a lot easier, and I'd visit home very frequently. Right. With work, it's not too bad, but I do think it'll be a lot easier, the fact that there's just this kind of unspoken thing with him and I, that we start work pretty much at like 1 his time, which is just like not that productive, because like if we're doing, usually I would start at like 10:30 to 11 my time for us to like really get into the meat of the day. Right. And by the time we're really getting into it, he's like kind of winding down a little bit. And when he moves here, I think that'll be a lot easier.
You'll be more synced up.
But yeah, it was definitely like, I think we had already so well adjusted to like hanging out through the time zones that like work wasn't too bad. Especially because like we'll like record stuff or write stuff or edit something and then be able to kind of split off and work on it and combine it together. So,
you know, something I've always admired about you, Eddie, is that you never forget where you came from. You make time for like your hometown friends. Is it Thursdays?
Yeah, Thursdays. Yeah. It started during COVID. Yeah,
and I like every time you remind me that you're up to that. I'm like, hell yeah, man.
I just think, I mean, especially that stuff would make me really sad if I moved away and then like those relationships kind of like dissipated.
Yeah.
But especially, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things that I like doing, and especially it helps. I'll say it's also a little bit of like, I like having a day of the week that most people understand that I'm just going to play video games that night, and I'm fine to do that. And like, I'll kind of get bad food and maybe drink a little bit that night too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a nice way to keep those friendships up, but then also it's a nice way to have like a day where I know like I don't have to do anything that day, and it's like mostly accepted.
I want to get better at that. I want to get better at like scheduling and fun.
I think recurring stuff is helpful too.
Yeah.
Like movie night. Bad movie night every 2 weeks.
I especially like want us all to kind of do more of that stuff, especially Chrissy and I were talking about, where it's like, I love like how much we kind of like go out. I don't want to take that down a little bit, but sometimes I want to hang out with everybody, and I'm like, I don't exactly want to go to a bar tonight. It doesn't like really make sense. But I also think right now proximity, I mean, I won't mention the distance that we live from each other at all. Never mind.
We could reference the restaurant that's equidistant from our places. And they can do like one of those cardboard, boards.
Yeah. Figure it out. They hire.
I live there.
The bar this whole time has been like the bar at Buca de Beppo. They hire like me to say that, by the way. I love saying it.
I just love the idea of somebody like hiring the Geo Wizard or whatever to like figure out based on photos of us like where we are.
A single frame of us standing next to a tree.
I had a small. I really hope with the video that I made that Mr. Beast doesn't locate and punish the one Mr. Beast burger that I got something from, because it wouldn't address the core problem. He would just be punishing a small business.
Yeah.
I had the thought where I was like, if Mr. Beast wanted to find this place, what would he do? He would give like one of those GeoGuessr creators like 10 grand to find it. He wouldn't like hire like a private investigator. He'd do the most internet thing ever of like, get one of those fucking GeoGuessr guys.
I sussed out an underperforming restaurant.
He's saying this isn't even a video. He's saying it on the call. He's like, I'm hiring you in order to find my enemy.
I brought 100 boys and 100 girls to find my enemies.
Like a team of pickpockets.
That is the funniest fucking concept in the world. 100 boys. 100 boys and girls.
It's also just such a childish way to describe human beings. Yeah. Boys and girls is such what a kid would say.
It sounds so much like Mr. Beast walked onto an elementary school playground with like a notepad and was like, guys, what would be the craziest video of all time? And one fourth grader is like, 100 boys versus 100 girls.
I was like, 100 is the most childish number. I know. Like, what's a big number? 100.
100.
The Mr. Beast. So in your video, when you got the Mr. Beast burger and it didn't have the shit, I actually, because I've watched a lot of those like little Mr. Beast interviews via shorts.
Yeah.
And
he brags about the packaging all the time.
He talks about it all the time.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
And he was
the only thing they actually offer.
Like Flagrant 2 or something like that. And was talking about how the packaging current packaging sucks and they need to fix something or whatever. He was like, oh, this version, like they were opening up a Mr. Beast burger and he was like, this version of the packaging is terrible. It's so bad. We need the new one. And so I knew how passionate he was about it. And so when I saw that he didn't have it, I was like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, they're fucking.
I've tried to be super fair to him, but I have a feeling I'm still going to become like a face on his dartboard for even talking about it. There's one, you know, he did those round of podcasts and I consumed quite a bit of it. I also noticed that he seems to have, I don't know if it's a repeated pattern. I at least saw it twice. One with the Keith Lee video with the chocolate. I don't know if you guys saw that. Mr. Beast seems to throw food across the room if it's getting reviewed poorly, and it is. He did it with chocolate bars, and he does it in like a playful way. But I think if you do that twice, that's kind of like a weird sign. But he did his round of interviews, and I believe he said it's because he saw. Fuck, what other figure did he see do? He saw Tate doing a bunch of interviews and thought, I want to do that, but not like the crazy misogynistic stuff. And so like he did those round of interviews because he saw how famous Tate got from doing a round of interviews on podcasts. And I think it's kind of weird to like openly say like, oh, I'm doing the Tate model. It's like,
yeah,
whoa.
also Tate's model also included the pyramid scheme aspect of things. Yeah. And I mean,
just good business.
Yeah, that's what everything can be
like, it's a
followed up
marketing referral program.
I saw also so many people on the video, not so many, like just as occasionally mixed in comment that was like, I've got Mr. Beast Burger and it's been exactly as advertised. So I think it was just that one that you got. And it's like, the point of the fucking video is that it's not only just this one, but he has no control over which ones do and don't do this.
Yeah, so missing the point is insane.
Just because you had one good experience at your one place, what I'm saying is it's impossible to quality control these things.
Also, the fact that you could point out, first of all, the odds that you uniquely got the one.
That restaurant had on Uber Eats a 3.1 rating. Not the restaurant itself, but the Mr. Beast burger that was run out of it. And it was also, in fairness, the
Oh, the location?
In fairness,
it was
there.
right above the McDonald's at Hollywood.
Stacked with, I believe, there's Jack Sparrow's house and then a Book of the Beppo.
All I will say is I did not seek out the worst Mr. Beast burger. It was a convenient Mr. Beast
It's not
burger.
like you were trying to do
I want to do a fair review. Like, that was my phone. Apologies.
Whoa.
Doesn't matter, dude. Sad Boys Nights. Literally, we're just using the
stuff on
master shot, like, because we're not going to cut between all the cameras, because that's work.
Yeah, no, that's too much work.
This is Sad Boys Night, especially
My night. Sad Boys Nights. Is he cute?
You gotta say it like a bridge troll, yeah.
Hello there. Who will enter my night?
I liked the way, by the way, when we first started talking about doing a bonus, that you described it, which is like, we come back, we lean into the chair. Time to cast.
I really, even though the main, like we've talked about, I do think that there's an element to being on to the main show. Yeah, I don't feel like it's a performance. I just think it's like, it's a little less casual, even though the show is casual. It's still a show, right?
Well, because we all are like, not in the forefront of our brain, but you know it's going up on YouTube. That's always something where you're like, I think we all want to be careful with what we were saying.
We've all caught ourselves, saying stuff, which means that there is a little pre-processing that's happening. And it's natural. But I do think that this is just like, you lean back, I don't have to worry about packaging any of this up. I don't have to worry about if it's a clickable trending thing. We can just talk about like Buca de Beppo.
Just Eddie can say the N-word.
No.
Nope. Still no.
Whoa, he just did it, and we did cut that out.
Sad Boys
What
Night.
the hell? Sad Boys Nights. He said the N-word.
You add like an
spelled
intro
with 2 G's.
You add an intro to the podcast.
Nights with a hard R.
Can you imagine you added an intro to the podcast like serious where you're like, we had to cut out so many instances where he did that, and so you won't see it in the episode, but it happened.
It's we do a deep fake like voice
Oh my
of
God.
you, like those presidents videos.
Oh my
And it's
God.
just it's a mix of real clips and of you saying the most insane shit ever.
I saw there's some kind of like joke of me talking to some kind of celebrity, and I saw somebody be like, "I would love to see this as like one of those AI jokes." It's like, please don't do it to me. I'm not a U.S. president. Yeah, I actually am far too small for you to be taking my voice and running it in.
I'm delicate.
When I was getting the pastries, I like to put on a little YouTube video when I'm like in the car or whatever, and it's like a 2-minute drive or 3-minute drive or whatever. I was listening to some basketball video, something about, Ja Morant just got suspended for 50 games because he like had a gun on the premises of the somewhere in the premises of the thing, and there's an automatic 50-game suspension if that happens.
He shot the basketball.
Because he like dangled a gun.
It's about to go in for the other team.
Airbud rules. Nothing against it.
Yeah, and now they're calling him Ja Warrant, which is very funny. But yes, okay, I remember now. They were talking about a couple of different stories, and in one of the stories, they were talking about this guy who was like talking shit, Dylan something, and they were like, he was talking shit about Draymond Green, and they were like, here's how Draymond Green responded, and then it was like a deep fake voice of Draymond Green, and then after that, and he was like saying some like very like it would be fighting words, you know what I mean? And then afterward, the guy recording the video goes, I don't know if that was really Draymond Green or like a deep fake.
God.
But it kind of sounds like something he would say, and it was fully earnest and not tongue in cheek at all. And I was like, "What is this?" like be
We're
very
headed toward
careful.
a lot of that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh dear,
Dude, doesn't the vocal deepfake thing feel like the kind of satanic panic parent kind of thing, but legitimate now?"
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because that people saying like, look, before long, they're going to be able to put on a mask that makes you Obama. And then you can press the nuclear button. It's like, okay, fucking relax.
Yeah.
Or people that are like, oh my God, ChatGPT is self-aware. It's like, no, it's just very sophisticated and you're
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
You have an ape brain. Like there's only so much you can get. This is just like, oh no, you can fake a voice.
I
You're
will
allowed
say
to just do that, I guess.
the one thing that we're kind of the only silver lining that I can see of we're kind of lucky with the way that it's being introduced is, especially even with this like president meme, is that I feel like it became like a funny, like comedically packaged piece of content with the presidents at first to introduce us to the idea that like, hey, this is going to be perfect at one point. So let's make sure that nothing is real anymore.
Yeah. Let's get everyone's literacy
Like, because
up.
if it was snap your fingers, it's perfect. It would be chaos immediately.
I
At
agree.
least there's a slow burn into it. So I'm like, okay, now I know whenever I see any footage of any president, I can't trust it unless I see it. Did you guys see the fun? Trump said one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Did you see the nuclear word clip that he said?
no."
This motherfucker was giving a speech. And he was like,
Wait,
he was
this does sound
talking.
familiar.
He was talking about how now with Russia and Ukraine, everyone's talking about nuclear war. And he tried to, bullshit and be like, when I was around, that was never something that was talked about. And he goes
I had
like,
a gun, I was going to shoot the bomb.
He goes like, and I don't have an impression for it, so I'll just vaguely say in that type of tone of voice. He goes like, nobody used to talk about it. That awful word. Nuclear. And then he goes, nobody talks about this. I say, there's 2 N-words. He goes, one that you should never say, and nuclear.
And
That was actually an excellent Trump, I feel.
Let me see if I can actually find the audio. It's so
That's
well played
so
into the
funny.
mic.
But I do love Trump's thing of this never happened when I was around.
it's like, what, nuclear apocalypse?
Yeah, they never talked about things.
I would say presidents have 100% success rate of avoiding nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah.
Here, wait, let me see if.
Nuclear is so devastating that we don't even want to talk about it. And that was a word that was never supposed to be mentioned. You have 2 N-words.
Wait.
He's the reason it's hard to distinguish for deep fakes.
Yeah, no,
That's the title of the bonus episode, 2 N-words.
As I was saying this, I was like, maybe this is a deep fake, but no, you can hear this. Definitely him at the speech. But
Supposed to be mentioned. 2 N-words, neither of which should ever be mentioned. I said that once. I said, oh, what a terrible thing to say. No, you have 2 N-words. You know what the one is, but the other is the nuclear word. Not supposed to ever be mentioned.
you know what the one is.
You know what one is? The other one's
And you're never supposed to say
Sad boys night.
Also, somebody who has absolutely frequently said both words privately
Yeah,
all the time.
Just wait till he's playing PUBG.
That might be the AI joke. If he's playing PUBG, that might be.
And the Washington Times comes through.
I think you're 100% correct, though, about we're kind of getting a crash course in identifying it.
Especially kids. Kids are now like, oh, this is like a popular meme with Minecraft parkour videos.
Yeah.
So I can never trust these videos ever.
Dude, I mean, look at like, you know, the of Joe Biden describing like what kind of pot he smokes and just being like, "We're out here cracking mids, Jack."
What was the
This
fight?
was watered in the blood of 29 dragons.
There was one of the
and they
things
showed it to the
he
mom.
said something like smoking that like shit straight out of K-lid from Elden Ring. I was like, that's so fucking straight out of Joe Biden say.
This shit'll like what was it? This shit'll reset you back to the womb, nigga. And it, like they showed it to. There's this dude showing his like Karen
seen
mom,
this, yeah.
and she is like shutting down.
Boomers are not equipped. They did not get the slow introduction that we did. Boomers are like, he said what?
They need the Clifford the Big Red Dog of it. Like they need it in crayon before cursing.
Yeah.
It's
That's,
like the easiest kind.
It reminds me exactly of like ad blindness. You remember when like your parents would get Google results and you'd see like their sponsored ones?
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, this. And I'm like, no, that's an ad. That's an ad for
Yeah.
something. And it's like, well, how can you tell? And it's like, I mean, we can just tell, but you can't like explain it.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't know. I just know from.
I've just grown up on the internet.
Yeah, not only being burned, but then seeing people point this shit out like all the time.
Yeah.
I am finding because I've been done like a dozen ad sponsorships at this point or whatever. A lot for podcasts in the past, but those were all like audio fiction podcasts, and they were always. I'm not an actor in these things, so when I come in, it's like clearly a placement. The copy reading is more transparent because it's just annoying when a podcast runs 3-minute ads because they're improving too much. I am still struggling to find the tone of doing an ad, how self-conscious to be about it without it being annoying for the brand and getting too many notes so I don't want to record the fucking thing again.
Yeah.
But also, I have used all the products so far and I did like them, so it's not disingenuine, but I can't be like, be cautious with that. I've received notes in the past about being a little bit more on copy or about being a little bit more stuff that I wasn't told to say word for word, but they are like, we'd like this word for word. And on one of them, I did have to push back because I'm like, but I'm lying. Like I would have to say that this I use every single day and I would never change.
Part of my job for the last couple of years.
Kill a man if you don't sign up.
I kind of like not fight brands like all the time, but I'm not difficult to work with them. But my first draft, it's like I always expect like one note or something, but I will always try and push the least amount of caring for the brand and the most messaging that the viewer is like, oh, he's kind of fucking around, but he was clearly paid by this company to read this shit out. I used to come up with a bit every time for me to have a piece of paper I was directly reading off of. And then some brands were like, you can't do it that much. But even with the recent sponsorship that I did, because and I like Babbel as a service. That's like, it's cool. It's I'm not saying any more other than it's a language service because I don't want any advertising dollars to go. But part of it was like if you're practicing a language, maybe say something in another language. And my workaround was to play a clip of myself impersonating Joe Biden saying like some awful Spanish.
That was funny.
Because I was like, I didn't use this service yet, like fully to learn a language yet. And I feel like I'd be disrespectful being like, let's hear some Spanish from me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Hola.
Yeah, really. Like it's like I think fighting the brands are the best. I actually kind of pride myself in not being difficult, but making sure that you ever see like another YouTuber who's like super enthusiastic for the brand and you're like, you don't have to do that at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're getting away with extra dollars from you because you're pretending to be enthusiastic about them.
The other thing where
conflict.
I've completely stopped, I think me and Curtis talked about this at some point, is look, when you first start, and I think a lot of people go through this, when you first get your sponsorships, you're like, I want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I want the brand to come back and stuff. And I notice people like, doing whole bits and sketches and things around the brand. And I think we've all done them at, at various points. And the thing I usually say to other people or think now is like, that is something that you would have to pay way more money for.
Yeah, I do.
Like, you're getting way more than you pay
Granted,
for it.
I make like, not in a cynical way, it's the function of my channel, it's the character that I play, very low effort, like recordings.
That's the best
low.
part, though. I think people enjoy that mostly, where it's like, I think the rules, at least for me, for sponsorships are, it needs to come off as lowest effort for the company, but like good effort for the content, as short as it can possibly be, while also maybe being a little funny. Like
the first two I did were like, we green screened them in and we like put little animations. It wasn't, hours and hours of work, but even my recording it and trying to get it right, I could have made I could have recorded 2 videos and it was tiring.
I waste a lot of time trying to hit that like tone right of like, will they be mad at me versus will I sound like I'm giving them an extra part of myself of being like, I love this brand. And I don't know about you guys, I skip any fucking phrase that's in any copy that's like, I blah, 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 because I'm like, I fucking didn't. So don't, and they never give you notes where they're like, you didn't say this one line. We're going to force you to say something out of your own opinion.
I definitely try to get away with what I can.
Those copies are meant to slip in things that you'll hopefully say.
Oh, 100%. It's like a contract where
it's not beneficial for them for you to say everything ad hominem because
they
so
give you
is
like
the other person.
3 minutes of fucking copy to say.
Yeah, and
then
they're
like,
dude,
dude,
60
it's a
second
45-second read. Yeah, it's like, what do you expect?
That's what I'll actually say to them is if I ever get like a note about adding something, I'll be like, this integration is this amount of time and it already is that amount of time and I cut out all the fluff. Also, I don't know about you guys, but you can add that little like your own little yellow ad bar.
I just asked our management about that.
Wait, you can add your own?
So I started doing this maybe like half a year ago because somebody had old like management for me had mentioned it, is that like you can add your own sponsor bar that is pretty much showing your audience, here's how long you have to skip until the video is fine.
Yeah.
And it's cold ones do it. And I was like, oh,
because
Wait, you can add your own as in a YouTube feature?
like I'm talking about on
editing?
Premiere. All I will literally do.
I do it homegrown. Like in the edit, but I was like, is there a feature?
Yeah,
where
no. I do
automatically does
it like I do it in editing. I'll put my own bar.
I think you mean you can, as in the brand won't stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the best part is,
100%.
it's sorry for people listening for it. Is like, I think it was pretty clear, but I just want to say like you can add your own like yellow ad bar,
Progress
which
bar,
you'd expect a brand to not be cool with. But the thing that you kind of throw back if they ever say notes, which they don't, is you can immediately be like, FTC guidelines say that I need to be clear about what's an advertisement. And this little bar is the universal way on YouTube to tell somebody that it's an ad.
Corridor does the literal countdown. Of the top right.
And they brands don't say anything. And also I think it's great because I am somebody who, even if it's a creator I like, pretty much skip every single ad that I get in a video just because I want to get back to the video, especially if it's a mid-roll. Occasionally I'll watch Drew's ending ones because I really liked pictureofhotdog.com that he did. And like, okay, but like, or I'll watch like some of our friends' ones, but it's like, I'm always the viewer that's like, if you give me a little indication, some people will make the like box of the video a little bit smaller during the ad and like add borders. And I'm like, great, now I know where to skip to.
Yeah, any sort of visual representation. I agree. I usually deliver things in like a jokey cadence where appropriate, but a lot of times I even cut out jokes because a lot of my jokes are like timing based and then they take up seconds.
Yeah, I do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm usually torn between like,
will this make me seem like I care less about the brand, but then also make somebody watch the sponsorship for longer, right? Like,
but then I'm like, but if someone's already skipping, then what's the, it's always this weird.
I started being like,
balance.
the last recording I did was the shortest one ever. I always overthink ads until this last one I did it was right before you picked me up.
Oh yeah.
It 15 minutes recording total, including like some offhand, like, cut that, move that. I tried to be as judicious as possible with, hey, Austin, just cut that out. Because he's a great editor and will want to include valuable stuff.
Yeah.
And I just want to be like, this has no reflection on you. This content.
This is bad.
If you accidentally cut all the funniest bits out of a main channel video, it might be a problem. But this is like not funny enough to to make the video 10 seconds long.
Yeah. I also think people will know, but just for people listening as well, I think none of the energy of it is like, our job is so hard because those sponsorships are like good money. The thought of it more goes into like, I want to keep like a very honest, not that there's like a true back and forth between people who watch my stuff, but like I want to be very open and honest about what this deal is, because I think we all frequently talk about like what's cool and isn't cool in advertising. And so that's like the only trip up, I think, is like my only frustration is like, am I making sure people watching understand that I give a shit way more about them than this brand?
Right, absolutely.
And that's the only kind of headache that there is. Not like, oh my God, doing sponsorships is so hard.
No,
You
I
know?
don't think any of us said that, but
Yeah.
it's just like a part of the job that's like you don't want to. You care more about your audience, but obviously you need to keep the lights on. So you're like, you're trying to balance.
One of the problem is, I mean, the reason maybe we're being hyper conscious about it is that we are and always have been power users of YouTube. It's the things I have the most hours on of any platform anywhere. And it is fucking rife with lies.
Yeah.
It is rife with people deliberately not doing that, especially pre-hashtag ad tags and like
Oh
FCC
my
obligations.
God. I know
That shit is sinister. And so I think I don't even want to be 0.1% as sinister as Jake Paul putting his merch on like the crucifix. And
I
saying,
one
"This is
time
Jesus was wearing it."
really fought a brand that I will not mention, where I used to, at the end of my videos, do a little like audio cue and it would say sponsor time on it. And one thing I learned also, never give any extra bit of the video to the brand that you don't have to, even if it's introducing the ad, because like that company was like, can you take out sponsor time? And I was like, I'd like to forward the FTC's phone number to you. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, what the hell? That's such a weird ask. Like, can you mix it? Like, people might click off and it's like, yeah, because it's an ad and I need to disclose that. What is wrong with you?
Oh, I like Sadboy's Night.
All right. Well, this
Be a little catty, you know what I mean?
is me. I mean, this
Name
is
the brand.
Sadboy's nuts.
it's Buca de Beppo. No, and scene. I mean, this is our first episode of the bonus show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Eddie, for joining us. Super. What a treat that is.
And as we did all physically actually start leaning back more.
I'm in the chair, dude. I'm freaking melting.
In the cut.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye.
I looked at the wrong camera.